Hi everyone, I'm April and you're watching the Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is episode number 20. Wow, that's going by really fast. 20. So I had mentioned that I am not doing a whole lot of knitting right now just because I'm trying to move house and I'm getting things sorted. But I wanted to show you just a little bit. I apologize, I wasn't on yesterday like I normally am on Sundays, but yesterday was Mother's Day and I did work until 4 p.m. and then after that I went and hung out with my mom and my children, so I just didn't have time to get to upload anything. And then when everything was said and done, I was just so tired. I didn't want to stay up late and do it. So here I am now. It's Monday, the day after Mother's Day. So like I said, I have been trying to get things sorted out in my house because I'm going to be moving soon. So I haven't gotten a whole lot done. I have not worked at all on the addition by subtraction murder mystery knit along since the last time. I haven't worked on that one at all. I think I mentioned that I had gotten inspired by a photograph and the colors that were in it, so I decided to start making a shawl. So I found a pattern called Luthien, and that one was by Natalia Mareva. I'll put in the photos again of the actual picture that I got inspired by, but this is the shawl as of yet. So the picture had like a green bush with purple and red flowers, and then next to it was a brick wall, or rock wall I should say. It was like some really goldish pale tan rock with like a really pale grouting. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I don't know if you can see the difference between the two colors. This is slip stitched color work. It's kind of like mosaic, but not quite. There's two different colors in there. These are, let me hold up the actual yarn. It's these two colors. They're very similar. They're knitting up very subtly, the color work, which is perfect because in the photograph, the two colors in the rock wall are very similar, very subtle. So I'm very pleased with how it's turning out. And the purple and the red, I'm just loving together. And then the green. Now the picture has more of a deep foresty green in the bush, but this is the green that I have. And I think it works well because if I had gone with with a darker green, I think that the contrast would not have been so obvious within this stitch pattern here. Oh, excuse my ends. So this is my progress so far. I'm very excited. It's a very easy knit. It's very straightforward. This has gone by rather quickly. It hasn't taken me hardly any time at all to get this far. Very excited. I love how it's turning out, and I think that it's a good representation of the photo that inspired me. You gotta find inspiration where you can. For me, inspiration always comes in the form of color. I have a Pinterest, what is it called? Your page or whatever. I have a Pinterest set up for just things that inspire me because of color combinations. I've got a lot, and a lot of it is nature, photographs of oceans at sunset, the different colors of the sky and the water, different trees and forests, or a field with flowers, just different things that inspire me. The color of a cat and the eyes, and just different things. So I've got a lot of things in nature based on color, and that's what inspires me. And this photograph really inspired me as far as colors, and I happened to find some yarns that I thought really represented it really well. And the last time, I don't think I really got into detail about which colors and yarns that I'm using for this, so I'll go ahead and do that now. You know me, I'm a big fan of Pandia's Jewels, and I got this a while back. This is her on her Snug base. This is my favorite of her bases, is Snug. This is called Evergreen. It's got a lot of creams and speckles of gold and yellow and a different shade of green. Like there's like more of a evergreen deep in there, but this is more like it's a cool kind of green, like a cool color versus warm. It's got like little bits of yellows in it, and it's just very, very interesting color to me. So that's what I'm using for the bush part of my shawl. Again, that's evergreen. The other color, and I'm using very different yarns, like several different brands of yarn for this, but they're all 100 grams to 463 yards. So they're all the same exact weight. They're just different. They come from different places. They're all superwash merino wool. And also, I think they're all 75-25 with nylon. I don't think they're 80-20. I can't remember, but they're all basically the same fiber content and the same ratio of that content, as well as the same ratio of yards to grams. So this is called, I have them written down because this one I can't remember. I think I bought this off of Ravelry. Has a page where you can look. It has a way that you can look into other people's stashes that they've uploaded, and you can filter those searches down to by people who are selling their yarns. And that's where I got this. I got 3 skeins of this red, and it's called Color Adventure, and it's the Dia sock. And this lighting is really blowing it out. It's not as orangey as that. It's called Cranberry, and it very much looks more like cranberries in real life. No, it's really, the lighting is really blowing this out. But it's called Cranberry. And then the other one that I have is hiding. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know. The purple. I don't know where my purple went. I'm lying, I found it. Yay! This is Duchess Heather. This is from Knit Picks Stroll. I really like that there's a little bit of, it's kind of hard to see on here, but there's tiny bits of gray up in this purple, and I guess that's why they call it heathered. So this other yarn, these two here are from the same company. These were from an Etsy shop called October House Fibers, and it was actually a 5 mini skein kit called Gelato, and these are 2 of the colors from that kit. This is called Pearl, and this one is called Tea Stained. It really does look like it was dyed with tea. So these are the 2 colors from that kit. Now I thought I'd show you my needles. These are bamboo, and they've got this clear plastic, sort of flexible cord. I was a cheapskate, and I ordered these off of eBay, and they came all the way from China. Very inexpensive. I got a set of, I want to say 15. It was something like from 2.0 millimeter up to, I think, an 11 millimeter. I'm not quite sure. I know it goes up pretty big, but there was 15 different sizes in between, and that whole set was $6. And those were 32 inch, I think, 32 inch circulars. They might be 40, but I think they're 32. And then I also ordered another set off of eBay, similar thing, in the 16 inch circulars. They're very inexpensive, $6. I did have to wait because they were shipped all the way from China, but the $6 includes the shipping, so very, very inexpensive. And it was a good way for me to supplement because I'm constantly starting things and I run out of needles. All the time I'm starting something new, so I wanted some inexpensive needles that I can either use or use as the needles themselves, or use as holders so that I can get my good needles and start something new. I know, I'm a mess. I have so many things going that I have to find ways to figure out how to do more. So I got those off of eBay, very inexpensive. I do have several, the Boy brand, those are what I learned on, the Boy brand interchangeable needles. I have 3 sets of those, but I'm missing several of those needles, several needles within each set. And I don't really use them as much because I hate the cord. The cord is very stiff and I just don't like them. I'll use them, I have them, I'm faithful to them. I'm not knocking them at all. They're good for shawls. I would never use them for magic loop, but they're good for like heavier shawls or heavier pieces where it's going to weigh that cord down and it's not going to kink up as much. And like I said, I have 3 sets of them. I obviously I love the tips. They're just pointy enough and they're slick enough. I really enjoy them. But I had been wanting to start delving into some of the pricier needles. So I do have some fixed needles in the Chow Goose. And I think I've got sizes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I don't normally knit with anything much bigger than that. And anything smaller would probably be socks, and I'm not going to need a 40-inch cable for that because I don't do magic loop. So I have my DPNs for anything smaller than a 3. So I do have them and I use them quite regularly, but when those are tied up, I don't mind going back to my boys, my boy interchangeables, or to the inexpensive bamboo needles from China. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I'd rather spend my money on the yarn. And I haven't had any mishaps really with these. They actually have lasted pretty well. I had one of the 32-inch where the cord popped off of the needle tip. That happened once. Thank goodness it didn't happen while I was in the middle of a row. It kind of happened as I was about to start another row, and I was just like, I picked it up and I'm like, oh, something's not right here. And then one of the 16-inch, I had left it, I don't know where, and it must have fallen on the floor because I stepped on it and cracked it. That was totally my fault. That's not anything to do with the how well those needles work. But those are the only 2 mishaps that I've had with those inexpensive needles. So I mean, it was worth it for me. So there you go. I'd rather spend money on my Pandia's Jewels or on my 3 Irish girls, which is what I'm going to talk about next. The other whip that I've got in progress are the socks that I had pulled out the yarn for the Brown Bag in It Sock Club in May. And that is the Bryn colorway by 3 Irish girls. And I told you I had started out with 2 of these. I don't know if you can really see how many different colors are in there. 2 of these balls, and I've got this sock this far. I did a regular heel, flap, and gusset. So I just finished decreasing all the gusset stitches, so now I'm just going to go straight round and round and round for the foot. I love how the colors have turned out. Oh my God. I mean, this and this, I mean, you can't really even, looking at this, you can't imagine how gorgeous this is. And I am using the Mad Mix sock pattern by Verpi Tarvo. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not sure. But what her idea is for these socks is to have a different stitch pattern for each color change. And I think that most people were making those with maybe scraps or minis. But I did it with this gradient. So you can see I've got this blue is one pattern, like a zigzaggy kind of pattern. And then down here, the greens I've got on this lacy, I don't know how to describe this pattern, but it's very pretty. So I got the greens in that. I did the heel in just a regular slip stitch heel in the brown. And then there's a little bit of the brown in front. That's another completely different pattern than the other two. Now down here where I've started blending into the darker purple is not one of the charts in the Mad Mix sock pattern. This is a chart that I got from some socks that I got. They're Claire Ellen was the designer, and they're the Sign of the Prancing Pony socks. And this was the leg chart for those socks. So that's what I've chosen to do here. There was several other, I think there's something like 5 or 6 patterns in the Mad Mix pattern to use for your socks, but I just didn't care for those patterns with these yarns. Especially here, these darker ones I just didn't like how they were turning out with those patterns. And I wanted to try something different and see if I could do it. Always trying to challenge myself. So I found one of the socks that I had, one of the other sock patterns that I had purchased, and I found a chart that fit with the number of stitches that I'm using. So that's Sign of the Prancing Pony is what I've got down here. When I get to, I'm almost done with this. When I get to this brighter magenta, I'm probably going to try to find another sock pattern that I've purchased and see if I can find another chart that will fit with my stitch count for that section. I'm thinking that these socks are going to end with brown. I hope I have enough. I think I will. I think it'll work out because I've never used an entire 100-gram skein for my own size. And these are actually made for my daughter, but we've got the same foot size. So, and I've never used an entire 100 grams. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be fine. But me being the worry wart that I am. So I'm very excited. They're turning out so pretty. And I actually love how this green that was coming up in the end here, it's brownish green, kind of somehow ended up as a line around the heel flap. I don't know why I find that interesting, but I do. I don't know if you can see that little line of pale green right there. I don't know why I find it interesting. I just do. Turned out kind of cool. I'm really digging these socks, and I love how the color started with the brown and blended into the teal. It's just gorgeous. I'm loving these socks. I think my daughter loves them as much as I do. So those are my 2 whips that I've got going. The 2 whips that I'm actually working on. Like I said, I haven't been working on the addition by subtraction shawl by Tri-Stitch Designs. I haven't been working on that very much, and I still haven't picked up my turbulence shawl in a few weeks. The turbulence shawl by Josh Reich-Rabinski. So these are the 2 that I've been working on mostly the last week. So that's all for whips right now. And excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of my tea. I'm going to talk about this tea because this, I am not real good at understanding weight, I guess. So there's this particular tea that I like, and it's green tea with cherry and rose. And it's hard to find, and I finally found some on Amazon. And I ordered 2 of them because I'm like, oh, that seems kind of inexpensive. Oh, I'll get that. And I thought I was going to get these 2 little things of tea. You know, it's just the loose leaf tea, and I have the little tea ball that I can put it in. So I'm thinking I'm going to get these 2 little blocks of tea. No, they're huge. I don't know what I was thinking, but when I saw the price, I guess I didn't really pay attention too much to the sizing, but this sucker is huge, and I ordered 2 of them. It's totally like hermetically sealed. It's vacuum sealed. Like, it's solid. There's a lot of tea in that thing. But this is, I don't know what the brand is. I'd show you the brand, but I don't know. It just says high altitude and luxury loose teas. I don't remember the company on Amazon that I got it from, but the flavor is Sencha Kyoto Cherry Rose. And it's a green tea with those flavors, and it's just such a light tea, and you don't really taste cherry or rose, but gosh, you smell it. Oh, it's so beautiful. But so this one I haven't opened yet. I've had it for a while. I have opened the other one, and I've had it open for a while. And this is where it ends, and I'm only to about right here. I've had it for several months. I'm going to have this for the rest of my life. I'm never going to have to look for cherry rose tea again because I've got so much of it, but it's absolutely my favoriteest tea. I adore it. So I just thought I'd let you know. This is who I am. I make mistakes like that all the time, and sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised, like with these big giant teas, but I was like, holy mackerel. Wasn't expecting that much tea. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some other yarns that I have. I'm constantly talking about Pandia's Jewels or Three Irish Girls, the merino yarns. I do buy other yarns and write other types of yarns. I bought some yak yarn recently, and I got them from My Yak, and I heard about them from Grocery Girls. Mentioned them, I think. So I thought, oh, I had a skein of yak yarn years ago, and I loved it. I used it up in a really pretty shawl, and it's just, oh, it was so soft. It was just my favorite. I just wanted to live in that yarn. I wanted that skein to just magically multiply into more skeins, and I loved it. It was the softest yarn, and I'm like, have you seen a yak? Have you ever seen a picture of a yak? I've obviously never seen it in person, but they're kind of scary and beastly looking. But that yarn, oh my gosh, so divine. I love it so much, but it was kind of expensive, and I haven't been able to find that particular brand recently. It's been years and years since I bought that, and I haven't been able to find it again. But I did, when I heard about My Yak on Grocery Girls, I thought, oh, I'm going to try it out because I did love how that felt. So I ordered 2 skeins of their baby yak, and they're both labeled. One I got in a tan grayish color, the other is a burgundy color, and they're labeled exactly the same as baby yak, 50 grams each, and they're both 380 yards, both listed as fingering weight. However, I'm a little disappointed because you can see this one is obviously a fingering weight, and it looks spun completely different than this one. This is like a smooth, more what I've normally seen. This is more, I don't know if it's called rustic, or I don't know. I think this might be called worsted spun. I know it's not worsted weight, but I think it might be called worsted spun. But they're very different. And this burgundy is more of a lace weight. I mean, they're labeled exactly the same. Other than the color name, the labels are exactly the same. They're 2 very different yarns. So I was a little bit disappointed because I wanted to make something a little bit bigger using both. So now I don't know what I'm going to do. I love the colors. The burgundy is so rich. Very pretty. And they're both super soft. This one is called Desert. It's like gray, but tan. It's very interesting. But I don't know what I'm going to do with them now because I bought them specifically to make something together, and they're very different yarns. One, this burgundy is obviously a lace weight. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Part of me is thinking just make 2 separate things, but I mean the 2 colors together. Oh, why? They're so pretty. I don't know that I would enjoy something as much with them being separate. Part of me is thinking maybe hold them together and do like a marled effect, but I don't know that I like that either. I don't know. I'm just a little bit disappointed with the labeling on these because they are obviously not the same yarn, but they feel fabulous. The colors are wonderful. They feel super soft, not quite as soft as the other yak that I had, and I think it was, gosh, it's been so long. It was something like Lotus was the brand. I know Lotus was in the name. I don't remember exactly, but it was 100% yak, and oh, I loved it. It was my favoriteest yarn. Super soft. And I do love these yarns individually. I meant them to be a package deal, and it's just kind of, it didn't work out that way. So I was a little bit disappointed, but the yarns themselves I do love. So I'm sure it'll work out. I'll find something. I'll figure something out. More than likely I'll go with the marling. Maybe a cowl. I can hold the two colors together and do something that way, but we'll see. So there is something that is not merino, superwash merino. Speaking of not superwash, April Davis screwed up. I made a not a shawl. I made a cardigan by Tin Can Knits back in 2014, and it was called the Low Tide Cardigan. I adored it so much. The pattern was cute, and you know, Tin Can Knits, the way that they do, they always have a huge range of sizes from infants all the way up to bigger sizes, which I need. I'm a bigger size. I'm a big size girl, and I appreciate that Tin Can Knits does that. So I went and found some beautiful yarn, and this is a skein that I had extra left over from that pattern. This is Misty Alpaca. Isn't it pretty? It's blacks and blues and teals, and then you've got this random, every once in a while you've got this random violet, olive green popping up. Beautiful. It's a fingering weight alpaca. It's, let's see, 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 10% silk, and 10% nylon. A little bit on the scratchy side, but not anything, you know, I probably wouldn't wear it up in my neck, but wearing it for a low necked cardigan was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. But there's no color listed on here. It's just listed as color, where is it? Color 01. So I love it. I bought multiple skeins of this, and I did the Low Tide sweater or Low Tide cardigan. I don't remember how it's called. Oh my gosh. And please excuse my sewing skills. The buttons look like crap. They're a little off center, but whatever. This was the cardigan that I made, and it's gorgeous. I love the lace detail. The lace part was so fun to do. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, and I love the colors. And I didn't even try to carry two different skeins together so that it wouldn't pull, because I love when yarns pull. This one didn't really pull all that much. I think that the colors are just so variegated that they didn't have a chance to pull. But I love it. Problem is, it's not superwash. And I knew that, and I was taking care to not do anything to felt this sweater. But one day, I had worn it several times. I had washed it a couple times, laying it flat and everything. But one day it somehow got mixed up in my laundry, and I washed it in the washing machine. I still didn't notice it was in there. Threw it in the dryer, and then I started taking things out, and I saw it, and I started crying. Oh, I was so upset. I was so sad. This thing, I can get it on, but it's obviously too tight around the bust. The buttons are straining. The yarn that's holding the buttons on, very straining to keep it together. Oh, I was so sad. I cried. I went and I soaked it in wool wash overnight, and then I got it and I hung it up, knowing deep down in my heart that you cannot unfelt something that has already felt it. I tried anyway. I soaked it overnight, and then I put it on a hanger, and I was hoping that the gravity and the weight of the water dripping down out of it would bring back some of that length, and no, it didn't. It's I can get it on, but it doesn't fit me the way that it did originally, and yeah. I can't get rid of it. I can't say, oh, I'll find somebody who's smaller than me and give this to them, because it's so pretty. I can't get rid of this. So now that we're moving in my new home, I am going to put this I'm gonna hang it real pretty somewhere in my yarn space and just love the colors and love the pattern, even though I could never wear it. But yeah, it was so sad. Be careful what you do with your things. I'm very bad about putting things away. Very bad. And all my shawls, I don't fold them up nicely and stack them or hang them properly. I just kind of like have a bin and kind of shove them in. I did get a cedar chest of drawers. It's just 2 small drawers, and I've got some of my shawls in there, but that's as many shawls as I do. I've outgrown that chest of drawers. So I have the rest of my shawls just kind of in a bin, and sometimes I'll fold them, sometimes I just kind of throw things, and then when I'm looking for the one that I want, I just move them around. So it's not, yeah, I'm not very diligent about how I store my hand knits. Bad, shame on me, shame on me. Whatever it is, what it is. But that's kind of what happened with this cardigan. I guess I just must have put it next to something and didn't realize and picked up a whole bunch of stuff to wash, and the rest was history. So yeah, be careful. Don't be April in this situation. Do not take care of your hand knits. Don't wash them in the washer if they're not supposed to be. So the last thing that I'm going to talk, oh no, not the last thing. I wanted to show you what I got for Mother's Day yesterday from my kiddos. It's a potted orchid, and it's so pretty. I don't know if you can see it in this lighting, but there's these really faint hints of pink, blush pink. It's just so delicate. I love it. So that's what I got for Mother's Day. And they took me out to eat, oh please don't tip over. Eat sushi, so that was good. I had a good time with that. I don't eat anything raw. For the most part. I have been normally I get my California rolls, or I get something that's tempura in my roll, like shrimp tempura, like the tiger rolls, I think they're called. But I have been getting more and more lately the Alaska rolls, which have a tiny bit of raw salmon in it. But it's such a small amount of raw salmon that it's not unpleasant for me. My daughter will eat sashimi, and she's got the yellowtail, and she's got the eel, and oh, no. No. I can't do that. I don't even want to try. I'm good with the tiny bit of raw salmon within the Alaska roll, but just to eat the raw fish like that, no good, thanks. But that's what we did. We went and we took my mom and myself and then my 3 kids all went out to eat, and we had a good time. And then I came home because I went directly from work to pick up my mom, and then we all met at the restaurant. So when I came home, I found the potted flower on my kitchen table, and I was so happy. It's so pretty. Thanks, kids. So I have also been talking about books, and the one that I am currently reading, I had mentioned, it's Maggie Sefton, Only Skein Deep, and it's a knitting mystery series. This is the 15th book in the series, and I gotta say, I'm not very far. I'm only I don't even think I'm 100 pages in yet. No, I'm not even 75 pages in yet. I gotta say that this book, I'm a little bit disappointed in. I've been reading this series for years. Every time a new one comes out, I go and get it, and I've always felt a connection with all the characters, and the stories were fun, and I love a good cozy mystery. But this particular one, I don't know if she's just been doing the same characters for so long and she wasn't feeling it, or maybe she was just having a one-off and this is just not her best work. But I'm not feeling this book. The dialogue is stilted. The characters are, I don't know, I'm not feeling this particular story, and it's taking me rather a long time to get through it. So I'm gonna finish it. Normally I don't finish books that I don't like. If I can't get through the first 100 pages, I put it down and I move on. But I have been reading this series forever. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna finish it, and then hope that the next book is a little more on par with the previous ones. So we'll see. And if in the next book I still find the same issues that I'm having in this one, I will discontinue reading it before I finish it, and just, you know, be done with that series. I mean, I guess it's going to happen from time to time. You know, the authors have been living the same lives with these stories for so long that sometimes it's just not as fun for them either, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is as to why this particular one isn't catching me the way the other ones did. But it's not. So we'll see. Maybe it is time to move on. I do have several other series that I need to pack up. I've got dozens of books, and most of them are all parts of long series in my bedroom that I need to pack up for this move. Part of me is like, oh, just give them away. And I'm like, no, I can't. I haven't read them yet. I know that I can get them at the library. I know that they exist there, and I can get them for free anytime I want, but I already have them. So I'm struggling really hard with that one. Do I move them with me, or do I just donate them somewhere and then just read them through I don't know. I love my library very much, but I already own these. They're already there. Someday I'll get to them. I don't know. I think it's harder for me to throw out books than it is clothes that I'm someday gonna fit into again. I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this decision. But I did mention that we were going to read Agatha Christie, Cat Among the Pigeons, for the Delicious Death Group in Ravelry. This is our May book. I have read this before. And I actually wanted to find this one on audiobook so that I can finish reading some other books that I'm into already, as well as I can knit while I'm listening to these audiobooks. And since I had read this one before, I thought it would be nice to listen to it. But I haven't been able to find for free a copy of an audiobook for this one. What I use for audiobooks are Hoopla and Overdrive, that I use through my library system using my library card. And there's a huge selection on both of those. And I did find this in abridged. I didn't want that. I mean, this book isn't even 250 pages. So an abridged version would just be way short, and I didn't want that. So I couldn't find an unabridged version through the Hoopla or the Hoopla or Overdrive. And I'm not willing to pay for paid for services of audiobook whatever platforms. I don't want to pay for that. I can get most of what I need on the two that I'm already using for free. And I don't dislike reading an actual paper book. That's actually my favorite way of doing it. So I did get this from the library, and I love the cover. And I actually am even more stoked about it because this is a newer book. You can tell it's pretty new. They stamped it January 2018, so it's very brand new. And I think I mentioned a while back that I had noticed some of my beloved Agatha Christie books are getting old, and as they're becoming more obviously disheveled, they're taking them off the shelves. And I haven't seen some of the books that I used to read in the past there, because Agatha Christie, I never get tired of rereading these books. And I've noticed that the Agatha Christie titles are becoming less and less on the shelves in the library. But I was super excited that they got this one. You can obviously tell it's new. So maybe they're going to just start restocking some of her titles, and that makes me super, super happy. And then the last thing that I am doing on audio right now, but I have read this book twice. I own this one. This is mine. This is not a library copy, and it's called 3 Bags Full, and it's by Leonie Swan. And the interesting thing about this is, yes, it's a murder mystery. Leonie Swan is German. This book is set in Ireland, and the protagonists, the main characters of this book, are the sheep. The sheep are trying to find out who murdered their shepherd. And that sounds cheesy, just saying it like that. It really does. It sounds like, oh, this is going to be just goofy and It's really not. It's very cleverly done. Like I said, I've read this book twice and I'm listening to it on audiobook for the first time because it's set in Ireland. Now that I found it, I had to hear it because I love the Irish accent. So yay, bonus points. So I'm listening to it again, and it's really cleverly done. Seeing everything from the point of view of this flock of sheep is just hilarious. It's funny without being childish, and it's a good murder mystery. It really is. I am digging it so much. So 3 bags full, Leonie Swan. I highly recommend this book. That's about all I've got right now. Oh, no. One more thing. Other yarns that I bought. I talk a lot about Chemknits. Rebecca from Chemknits. She's got a YouTube channel, Chemknits Tutorials. She dyes a lot of yarn. She started her YouTube videos dyeing yarn with food coloring. And more recently, she started delving into commercial acid dyes. But I still love her for her food coloring. And she just opened up an Etsy shop with all of the, with a lot of the yarns that she's dyed over the years. And I had to go get some. So I can't remember, Chemknits Creations on Etsy. So the first thing I got was a worsted weight. And again, this is all food coloring dyed, something to do with food coloring, whether it's actual food coloring drops or the Wilton's food coloring. It's kind of like a gel. She uses that a lot. And I think I mentioned before, she's dyed yarns with candy sprinkles and all kinds of anything that has food coloring in the ingredients. She's tried it. So I did get one that I had to have. This is a worsted weight yarn, 100% merino. It's not superwash, so I'm gonna have to be very careful with this one. But it's so pretty. You've got this lovely mint green, and then you've got a little bit of a baby blue. And I'm sorry, my lighting is blowing some of these lighter colors out. Baby blue, and then she's got these pretty lavenders in there. I adore it. And this is from food coloring. And you kind of expect pastel colors when you're dyeing with food coloring, but you can get some really, really vivid colors with food coloring. For example, she did this on superwash fingering weight, and look at those teals. So pretty. And I don't know exactly which food colorings she used. I have been watching her show for years. And I know that her favorite is Wilton's Violet, but this one, I don't know which one this was. I don't know specifically which food coloring she used for this, but gosh, look at how deep and vibrant and rich these colors are, especially as compared to this pastel. I mean, you can do a lot of cool things with food coloring, and she has proved that time and time again. So I was super excited to go into her Etsy store, Chemknits Creations, and snag a few skeins. So I'm very excited. These, I think I want these to be gloves, fingerless gloves. This, I don't know. This may just be like a little shawlette or something. Maybe socks, but I don't know. Teal is my thing. And oh, it would look so good up against my face. Super excited. So I don't know. I still have to decide, but that is some of the new things that I got. Yeah, so I guess it's time now for me to get back to the packing and sorting and everything. So I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day for all you moms out there, and I hope that the rest of your week is going to be fabulous, and I will see you on Sunday. Bye.